Most people don't look for flagship phones. What if they did? Yes, it is either way too costly or straight up overkill for the basic needs, and all they need is a good phone that gets the job done. But what exactly are they missing out by not getting the best of the best? And if all phones look the same, and at the end of the day it's just a piece of glass and metal slab that you're anyways going to throw in 3 to 5 years, why spend that much? What do you get for 9 times the price from the starting Samsung device? Or when there are mid-range phones that can offer premium smartphone experience for a third of the price? What can an average consumer notice when they move from an older device? The single most thing that you would get by spending a crazy amount is no accessories in the box. True, but just kidding. As I mentioned earlier, Samsung's 2023 lineup all have the same design, both front and the back. Now, the 3 unique phones that would have different designs in some shape or form would be the S23 Ultra, Fold 5 and the Flip 5. In my opinion, this is one of the best and my most favorite design smartphones because of the bezel-less, boxier and squared edges. It screams premium and looks absolutely stunning when I take off the case. It is a 6.8-inch centered punch hole, 1440p LTPO AMOLED display at 120Hz and 240Hz touch sampling rate, and a max brightness of 1750 nits. Huge numbers for a tech guy, but what the average consumer would notice is it is way bigger and huge than normal phones. Much sharper, and if they get to use it outdoors in peak sunlight, the phone is much more sunlight readable than the others. To save battery, the phone refreshes at 1 Hz when there is nothing moving on the screen. The second thing you would notice is the use of ultrasonic fingerprint sensor right in the middle of the screen instead of an optical in-display fingerprint scanner towards the bottom, or fingerprint sensor in the power button, or rear mounted fingerprint scanners in the older phones. It doesn't shed light in a dark environment like the optical in-display fingerprint sensors, and the ultrasonic sensor is much more quick and requires just a small touch, and it is more responsive when the hand or screen is wet. The third thing you notice would be the build quality with matte/satin finish glass protected by the Gorilla Glass Victus 2 and aluminium rails. Stereo speakers that are excellent instead of single bottom firing speakers you get on a cheaper phones. The stereo speakers are very loud, crisp and clear. The haptics and vibration motors elevate your gaming experience to a different league. Then when you use the phone, it's very quick, it doesn't take too much time to open apps and can hold multiple apps longer in the recent menu because of the crazy RAM options. Thanks to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 made specifically for Galaxy. Samsung taking more optimization and customization over the chip is really great. Optimization in the form of more clock speed and more GPU cores. I am a heavy smartphone user. I use 4 apps at the same time. To multitask this extensively, you need that raw power and efficiency. With the huge phone comes a huge 5000 mAh battery. My battery experience is excellent. I actually never got close to killing it in a day. So easy 2-day battery life.
Since they don't provide the charger adapter in the box, you have to get it separately. The mid-range phones have the capability to charge at 25 watts, and then the flagship series are capable of charging at 45 watts, which is good.
Speaking of batteries, they managed to fit the S Pen. It is the best stylus for a smartphone. Multiple features such as the screen off memo, Samsung Notes, live messages, screen capture, presentation controls, handwriting to text, air actions, all are bonuses that come along with this stylus. The delay between when you touch the screen and when there is an actual registration on the screen for what you just did is called the latency. This S Pen has 9 milliseconds latency, so Apple Pencil levels of responsiveness is much appreciated. Also, you get the sound effect as if you're writing on a paper. There is also wireless charging and reverse wireless charging, Bixby and Google Assistant, IP68 water resistance, always on display, edge lighting and side panel. All of this combined with Samsung's One UI skin, which is much more better than the Oxygen OS and Pixel default experience, offering 4 years of software updates and 5 years of security updates. This gives more longevity to the phone, and this is the icing on the cake. The actual single most thing that you would notice for the price difference is the cameras. So we have got 4 cameras on the back along with a dedicated laser autofocus sensor and 40 megapixel front camera. The interesting part is the ultra wide sensor doubles down as a macro. So we got a 12 megapixel ultra wide, 108 megapixel primary or 200 megapixel primary camera in the S23 Ultra, the 10 megapixel 10x telephoto and 10 megapixel 3x telephoto. This is the best camera system in any sort of lighting. These are the most consistent cameras I've ever seen. Great dynamic range, the colors are solid, skin tones are accurate. You get the Samsung's colorful, sharpened and saturated look. It's an aesthetic which is great. Personally, because of the file size, I don't shoot 8K video or use the 108 megapixel mode. Though this phone starts at 256 gigabytes and you can't kill the storage immediately even though you take tons and tons of photos and videos until and unless you use the high megapixel mode to print the photo or use the 8K video recording to upload a YouTube video, I don't see the average consumer needing to use the modes. Speaking of features, if you consider iPhone as a basic point and shoot camera and Pixel smartphones right in the middle because of the software, Samsung is in the extreme end. In terms of features, Samsung just gives you a lot of customization before and after you take the photos and videos. There are 3 different focal lengths in portrait mode along with different styles of blur, which is quite common, but you get the same in portrait mode video. You can switch cameras while actively taking video, and there is Pro Photo and Pro Video mode and dedicated mode for taking raw photos. There is also super slow-mo zoom in mic and single take in which the phone uses all of its camera and takes photos from all of its cameras at once. Coming back to our original narrative, between the entry-level phone and the flagship phones, there are 3 modes which are exclusive. 1 is Expert RAW, 2 Portrait Video, and 3 Director's View, in which you can use the selfie camera and any of the 4 rear cameras to shoot video simultaneously. So my friend has an iPhone 14 Pro Max, the current best offering from Apple as of mid-2023, though he was blown away by the in-display Touch ID, which is what he called. The one thing that my friends with iPhone 12, 13 or 14 constantly were doing is chucking the phone into their pocket and asking me to take photos from the Samsung phone and to send them. Props to Samsung to absolutely nailing the commercial. Will you send that? iPhone users used to have the best portrait mode, but now Samsung's tweaking the software and making mild adjustments with the AI stereo depth mapping has the most consistent cutouts of portrait mode in any camera smartphone right now. You get an iPhone, you get 5x digital zoom, and in the Pro series you get the 15x digital zoom. But here you get the 3x optical, then the 10x optical zoom, and if it isn't enough, you get the 100x digital zoom. The night mode on Samsung phones are 100% more definitely detailed than the iPhones, but are brighter, which maybe defeats the purpose of photos looking dark.
Here's me in a different getup to show I'm recording this segment 1 year later. A lot has changed since the past year. College life has been overwhelmingly busy and the schedule has gotten very hectic. Funny how during higher secondary school we all thought we'll have more time during college, but college turned out to be very time consuming than school. I personally don't have all the time to put into passion or side hustle. As we turn older and get more responsibilities, all our moves should make sense or make money. I just have lots and lots of unedited videos and too many video projects lined up. I really don't know if I'll be able to edit and release those videos here on the main channel. And one more thing I forgot to mention in this review was the signal receptivity is tremendously better on the flagship phones. I was able to get insane Wi-Fi 6E speeds compared to other phones which got no speed at all connected to the same Wi-Fi. Anyways, since you're watching this in 2024, here are the spec sheet of S24 Ultra. 200 megapixel main camera, flatter sides instead of curved sides, titanium build, 2600 nits, anti-reflective coating, and 50 megapixel 5x telephoto instead of the 10 megapixel 10x telephoto, and tons of AI features have been improved. Personally, I like curves over flat. I like the design of the S22 Ultra more than the S23 Ultra, which had lesser curves, and then S24 Ultra, which is completely flat. The Snapdragon chipset are no longer global anymore in the S24 series. Samsung released 2 generations of phones with the Snapdragon chipsets globally and then messed up with the S24 series. However, they have promised 7 years of software and security updates to the S24 series. Despite all those upgrades, the S22 Ultra and the S23 Ultra hold up really well against the S24 Ultra. I also use the iPhone 15 and the 15 Pro Max, and I have to say the camera capabilities in the 15 Pro Max have improved tremendously, especially the zooming front. Many of the zoomed in photos from the iPhone 15 Pro Max look better than my S23 Plus, but it's only fair to compare the Titans against the Titans. So there will be a great competition between the iPhone 16 Pro Max and the S24 Ultra in 2024.
Finally, a crazy feature that is exclusive to the Samsung Ultra phones, is the 100x space zoom. Best looking moonshots from any smartphone, in some cases better than certain DSLRs. Initially, you'll be impressed, and anytime you see a full moon, you'll get an urge to take a photo. But then there were certain articles after a Reddit user told the moonshots was fake. Basically, it isn't the same overlay fakery of the moonshots that Huawei was accused of doing when they introduced the periscope camera. The Samsung camera app turns the exposure all the way down, locks focus, and runs noise reduction and detail enhancement processing. So it isn't fake, it is the camera's interpretation of the moon, which is technically accurate. Different shapes of moon and different colors are also represented correctly. Even the sunset photos and zoomed in photos of the sun look great. So I've been using Samsung S22 Ultra for a year, and here are the 6 reasons I got this phone. I wanted to buy a Note series phone in the first half of the year, usually when the next gen S series phone launches. The merging of the S series and the Note series hit 2 mangoes in one stone. Snapdragon chipset throughout the globe, which gives superior battery and camera processing. The third reason was S Pen. The fourth reason was 100x zoom, be it taking photos of birds or animals which are far away, or some landscape scenarios, or even taking pictures of the whiteboard in lecture halls. Fifth reason was display size that doubles down as a tablet, and combined with that we get the Samsung Text wireless. And 6, the longevity of the phone. It has a timeless design and the 4 years of software support and additional years of security updates. So if you want to use a phone for 5 years and still hold relevant, this is the one. Click here to watch the part 1 of the video where I discuss about what did Samsung get right with this mid-range phone in order to get 11.4 million sales worldwide. Anyways, this is NikhilvKanna signing off. Peace.